G'day, g'day, g'day. Mathematical KM here. Remember their initials, not a title. Keith Malumbi. This is round one. We'll see how the voice goes over the weekend. 6 games. The Vikings Weekender tournament at Tuggeranong Vikings Chess Club in Canberra. Weighing in at 14.49. Round one against born in 2013. So a very nice young lady. Who I guess she was expected to roll over my hippo with the white pieces, weighing in at 14.94. So let's see how it all turned out. Let's get this here. Okay, she started with the queen pawn, I fianchetto. Okay, bang. Usually you go 1, 2, 3 and then 4 or 4 when setting up the hippo, but just in time, if they fianchetto and there's a knight there, I've got a chance now and I better take it to fianchetto my queenside bishop. She fianchettos, I fianchetto, castles. Now we come back, normal program resuming, D pawn. Interesting, it's like, looks like the 3 pawn centre on the queen side, but without the E pawn. We get the knight out into the middle, E pawn forward. She develops bishop. Thanks Solomon. When you've got a bishop facing a bishop, if you can fit it in, always good to protect the bishops so there's not some funny knight trick doing something, allowing a hanging bishop to be captured. So that's put in as a good move. And what else we got? With the pawn on c4, the a4 to a6 is not part of the standard thick skin hippo setup. She develops a rook. h6 is still definitely on the cards. We're not going to have a pawn on f4. And it's prophylaxis for both the bishop and the knight. She develops another pawn over on the queen side. I get my last knight into the middle. And there's a bit of a pawn storm coming on the queen side of the board. Let's get this down just a little bit. Now, knight to f5, threatening, in this early stage of the hippo, it's always good to, if you can, swap a knight for a bishop. So it's threatening the knight on the bishop, and it's also the bishop that's likely to end up with a battery coming towards where my king's probably going to be, so it would be good bishop to capture. It's also putting more pressure on the D pawn, which would then have 2 attackers. The knight that's a knight here, and this bishop, 2 attackers. And whilst it currently has 1, 2, 3 defenders, the magic of that bishop backing up to, say for example, D2, takes it down to the 1 defender, and would be able to capture that central pawn at that point in time. Because we have 2 attackers and only 1 defender. And also, if that defender were to try and take part, intermezzo, we can probably get rid of both of our light bishops. And that's her light bishop is more important than mine. It's a defender of the king. So I did actually in my head see the benefits of knight to e5. Bit of a spiel on that. Apparently it was best and do it now, but I've gone and it's still the edge to white. Let's get the king out of the way, and then if it's still there, then we'll look at it. So it's called an inaccuracy for that reason. Okay, the battery has been formed. Now, it's an interesting one, and it's the second best move, is the standard sort of move in this situation, which is you get the king and this bishop for the two defenders that are required for your H-pawn. But it's not the best move. And it's not the best move because I can get another defender, which just also happens to be an attacker. And that's the best move, and there we get the edge to black. And that is best. Okay, so she's going to remove the defender, but that defender is going to take that bishop with it. That's best. I can perhaps see what she's thinking. She's thinking to open a line for the rook, but it's damaging the pawn structure, and that's perhaps why f takes is second best by nearly a whole pawn, and queen takes is superior. But so she's opened the rook, and I've decided at this point to increase the pawn chain, pressure on the D pawn. The pawn push that I've made, she's got 2, I've got 1, 2, 3, so I'm not going to lose that fight. And were she to take it, coming in maybe with the knight first, then I'll end up with a bishop here headed for that H-pawn, which would be a pretty strong bishop. So I don't actually think it's going to be in her top moves to take that pawn. And in fact, queen to E7. Oh, hang on, where? H3 is good, that's her best move. D takes is second best, and then again, knight takes was correct. Or even now, just getting that king out of a little bit of danger with H1. But she's come forward. It does block my light bishop and hers, but they're now no longer really staring at each other so much. This pawn out here, I'm imagining, and as Solomon puts in his hippo course, quite often these bishops, if they start biting on granite, they've only got to move a square, and then they are on beautiful diagonals. And that was an excellent move. Backing that pawn up. And I've got visions of queen here, that pawn not being there, that knight not being there, but queen here, and then bishop takes pawn, bishop's pinned to the king, and no doubt there'll be complications, but queen takes bishop checkmate. We'll see but how many defensive resources she finds. Okay. And that was best. Not only is it a reasonable place for the knight to be, it's opened that bishop up big time. And with those ideas of attacking the king. And I was not totally playing hope chess, but let's just say I was aware of there is a beautiful queen rook fork, also capturing a pawn, kind of hoping, don't play hope chess, but it's there. It's got to be dealt with, which means she's not going to deal with anything over in this part of the world. So she's really got to protect that pawn. So queen to c2 is excellent. Queen to d1 would have also lined up on that pawn. And it's also got, she's got ideas of attacking down. The queen's on quite a reasonable diagonal. But the light squared bishops, I don't think it's ever going to get onto the same diagonal helping that queen. A5 was best. Yeah, A5 would have saved me some problems later in the piece. Probably worth protecting the knight, stop the knight from being kicked out. Yeah, okay, that one's locked in. But for what it's worth, I've thrown the Harry forward. And she's just come forward. Now the queen to where the queen wants to be for the plan is stopped by that knight. At some point, it would be nice to be able to move this pawn forward to kick that knight. But for now, she's got a queen and a knight ready to take that pawn if it's pushed forward. And I've only got a knight. So e4 was best, which was just pushing it forward. Now that's a line I'll take a look at, not even this weekend with 5 more games this weekend. But if I play, let's shift my video out. If I just played e4, let's go back. e4 instead of f4. Should take with the knight, that makes sense. Then I'd bring the bishop out, pinning the knight to the queen. Should move the other knight out of the way. Then I'd swap it off. And the game continues, and just a different plan of attack that's not too bad for black. But let's go with what I did play, which was should the f-pawn survive en passant, then the e-pawn can come forward and we can start rolling. Not a good idea from white's point of view to let those black pawns come rolling there. So en passant does happen. Now the decision here is between bishop, which is utterly stupid. Queen takes with check. But rook or queen. And there's actually not a lot in it. But it's better to go with the rook. And I've gone with the rook. And it's at this point, still wanting to get that pawn forward. Bishop takes pawn still on the cards. I just need probably the queen, but queen or rook here. Now it's a mistake taking that knight away. I mean, it does give the discovered attack of rook and rook. Of course, that does give me, if at some point it suits me, and you can see it's the second best move right now, of rook takes rook check, comes back, and then the queen can come in. Which you can see, let's get me out of the way again. Rook takes rook check, rook takes back, queen to g5. And then the king has to go to h1 to stop the bishop takes pawn fun and games. But, so what does or did happen? I thought this was it in the top moves? I thought it was a good idea. Bishop F5, it's the top move. Because her best move, she can either move the queen away and her best move E4. Well, that's just blunted most of her attacking ideas with that queen. And then the bishop comes back to D7, which is best, and the bishop is still lined up on its target. So that was a good little stutter step from the bishop. B4 is excellent. Let's move 22. And I've got to think about my knight. Strangely, not thinking about the knight, but just going in with the queen is best. After she played the move, she offered the draw. Let's see, it's -2 to black. I mean, I know I've still got this half an attack going, but got a few problems over here. I won't say it's 9:30 and being nice to my opponent in terms of sleep. No. It was been quite the arm wrestle. Very well played. And I thought I'll just get the runs on the board, higher rated opponent, and accepted the draw. Now what could have happened, so that's where it ended, as a draw. Let's see, we'll go through the what could have happened, then come back and delete the moves, and then look at the review. So, check, takes, queen across, and that's kind of what I was thinking, or tossing up between, I knew it would be queen across or shift the knight first. Shift the knight first was way better, see? But take the free knight, I do get that pawn, it comes up, and then it would have been pretty much at 0. So if I'd gone in a little bit too bullheaded and not worried about my knight, 0.00 down the thing, so maybe accepting the draw wasn't such a bad idea. But at this point, and let's see, the best is B5. I'd still been wanting this plan, but saved the knight first. Now the queen comes to G5. The game goes on, but with an even bigger advantage to black. So maybe I had the edge, but I accepted the draw. But, it was safe points on the board. B4 was the last move that was played. Let's delete everything after it. And we save. This is the 92nd hippopotamus game. Been reviewed and put onto YouTube this year, in the year of the water horse. And now we're going to go review. How well did we both play? 82 to 86. And it's hard to get in the high 90s in such a positional, strategic manoeuvring game. And 2100 for Varshini and 2300 for me. That's nice to be told I had 2300. She played her opening at 96 to my 92. 72 to 81. So I could get used to being told I played better in the middle game. There you go. That's not such a bad deal. I told Vasini after the game that this would be on YouTube, and if you like it, Vasini, like and subscribe to the channel, and everyone else like and subscribe to the channel for more fun hippo. Next year, probably English, French and Dutch. We'll see. It'll be a year or something. Okay, bye for now.